Hello and welcome to lecture 7 of unit 2 in strategic management course of MBA program. I am Pankaj Chauhan and I am associated with Ajay Kumar Garg, Institute of Management, Ghaziabad. Today in this session I will discuss the concept of IFE, that is internal factor evaluation matrix, and the concept of value chain analysis. The focus of the session will be on how to conduct internal analysis by using IFE matrix, wherein we will discuss the step-by-step approach, how to construct IFE matrix, the various kind of calculation, how to assign weight, how to assign rating will be discussed. Most importantly, in this session regarding the IFE matrix, I will discuss how the summary of the total matrix in terms of total weighted score be interpreted, and then in the next part of this session we will discuss the concept of value chain analysis. Why value chain analysis is important, what are the things that should be analyzed, what are the categories that must be analyzed during the value chain analysis will be discussed in this session. Apart from this, value chain analysis actually propose us to look at the organization from the process point of view. Process point of view means we should consider various activities performed in a process during the transformation of resources into the final product. So far, the learning outcomes out of this lecture is concerned. After this session, you will be able to understand the methodology related to IFE matrix. You will also be able to develop IFE matrix, and during the development part you will got to know how to assign weight and how to assign ratings, because these are the important things regarding IFE matrix. You will be able to explain what is value chain and value chain analysis. You will be able to describe why value chain analysis is required, that is what is the strategic importance of value chain analysis. You will be able to know about the categories of activities that should be analyzed during the value chain analysis, and the categories of these activities will be as per the concept of value chain analysis. Broadly, value chain analysis describe two categories, the primary and the support categories of activities. And finally, by the end of the session you will be able to explain the steps of value chain analysis, so that in a given situation you would be able to conduct a value chain analysis for a particular organization. So these would be the learning outcomes. With this, let me insist you to go through the session 4, wherein we discuss the importance of internal analysis, and we also discuss why internal analysis is equally important as the external analysis. In that session we discuss that the source of the competitive advantage can also lie within the company. So for the better understanding or for a better connect how IFE is strategic in nature and help in taking inside decision, please refer to that session as well. Now let us begin with this first topic, that is internal factor evaluation matrix. Internal factor evaluation matrix and external factor evaluation matrix, these are the analytical methods which are used in strategy for the purpose of evaluating the internal and external position of the company within the industry. Both of the metrics are able to provide very quick and brief evaluation of the company, and in a sense after the analysis through these two metrics, you will be able to have a very summary form of the positional data, that where you as a company stand. So the most important part is, though it is a very simple matrix, but it contains some good strategic insight about the position of the company. Both of these matrices, IFE and EFE, were developed by Fried R. David, and he mentioned these two matrices in his very popular book on strategic management. So, IFE is used to identify the key factors that affect the company in terms of, we will categorize these factors in terms of strength and weaknesses, and IFE helps to envision the impact of internal factors on the company, how long these factors have been considered in the present strategy of the company and how they should be treated in future time. So, this kind of analysis will help us in getting more strategic insight. Now, look at the methodology part, how to construct IFE. So, now I will discuss the step by step approach. So, the very first step that help us to create internal factor analysis matrix begin with listing of the key strength and weaknesses. How do we got to know about the strength and weaknesses? For that purpose, we can refer to the SWOT analysis, or if not directly to the SWOT analysis, what we can do is we can develop a list depending on our own subjective analysis and the experience as a business manager, as an observer, that what are the things that are that are probably harming the position of the company, or that probably can provide are providing strength to the company. So, that listing is very much required in the first step. So, the first step is list key strength and weaknesses area of the company. In the next step, we will assign weight to the each listed factor. So, let us try to focus more over here, that what this weight indicate. We will assign weight. So, weight indicate how important the factor is for the success of company in its industry. I tell you, I mention over here also that the rating as well as weight, they are assigned subjectively to each of the factor. There is as such no particular methodology or a particular approach been suggested that how you should allocate the, or how you decide that how much weight to be assigned. So, this is all subjective in nature. Depending on your evaluation, you will allocate a certain weight to each and every factor that you have listed. So, the very first task is to list down all the important key factors over here. When we are listing all these factors, some of them could be our strength, some of them could be our weaknesses. The next task is to allocate weight. So, we will allocate weight to each and every factor. The very important point regarding the weight assignment is the weight will range from 0 to 1. Minimum weight you can allocate is 0, which means that the considered factor is not at all important if you are allocating a value of 0. So, probably in that situation you should drop that factor. And as we move towards the 1, as we are allocating higher number which reflect high importance. The point is the sum of all the weight must be equals to 1, which means it should be a constant sum. So, the sum will not change, that will remain 1.0. So, whatever weight you allocated over here for each factor listed in this matrix, the total weight would be equals to 1.0. And as I mentioned, you may vary in giving the weight depending on your subjective analysis to each of the factor. Second point is, after allocating the weight, we will provide rating to each of the listed factor. Now, the rating refers to how well company's current strategy is responding to the it should not be opportunity, it should be strength and weaknesses. So, when we allocate rating, our rating will somewhere reflect our position regarding our present strategy, how well we are addressing the strength and weaknesses. So, whatever strength and weaknesses we have listed here, these strength and weaknesses will be rated on a scale of 1 to 4, right, on a scale of 1 to 4, wherein if the company is able to respond superiorly by addressing these strengths and weaknesses, then we will assign a rating of 4 to that particular strength. So, if a present strategy is very much addressing a particular strength, so I will allocate a little higher weight. So, I can allocate a weight of a rating of 2 or 3 or even 4, right. So, we will allocate the different ratings depending on how well the company's present strategy is addressing these all listed factors. So, this is important. So, one correction that I already mentioned here, that it should be here strength and it should be here weakness. So, that is some correction. Now, each factor assign rating from 1 to 4 that I have already discussed. 4 means superior response by your strategy and also incorporating the strength and weaknesses. So, this is so the after you provide the rating, you provide the weight, right, to strength and weaknesses. So, here total will be close to 1.0. Different ratings can be allocated. Rating scale would be from 1 to 4. Now, what you will do is you will calculate weighted score. Now, what is a weighted score? Weighted score is the multiple of weight and rating. So, you will calculate the weighted score for each and every factor listed over here, right. So, we will calculate the weighted score. We will observe the entire matrix one more time, just to look at there should not be any factor which didn't receive any score. So, every factor should have a weighted score. How much it is lower or how much it is higher, that is a separate issue, but every factor which is listed here should have a score. If you found that some factor may be missing, maybe as I said on certain factor, if you allocated a weight of 0, so and whatever rating you have provided, that also becomes here 0. So, it is better to remove that. So, that kind of factor should not be listed herein. Once we are done with the weighted score, the next task is to calculate total weighted score. So, total weighted score will appear here. What we will do is we will simply summarize all. So, total weighted score is the sum of all the individual weighted scores. So, this is the calculation part and the steps part. Now, we will look at one example here. If you look at this example, here some strengths are listed, right, and here some weaknesses are listed. For example, strong brand reputation in the pharma industry. This example is taken from this source, and this is regarding a pharma industry. Global presence of the brand, a strategic alliance of the company, diversified variety of product. So, here we are talking about portfolio. Experience of 100+ year in the pharma industry. So, it is about how long company existing in the industry. Innovation leader, what make the company more successful, that is the capability of company to innovate. So, these all are considered as a strength. What are the weaknesses? High labor turnover, recent expiring patents. So, patent, particularly in case of pharma industry, is very important, because patent give the competitive advantage. Patent are something that prevent your formulation not to be copied by your competitors. Declining market share, that obviously is a weakness, and less focus on the marketing, again it is considered as weakness. So if you look at on the column number 1, we have listed all the strengths and weaknesses, not all but particularly the key strength and key weaknesses. So we should consider that we should list only the important one. Then we allocate weight. As I said, that weight should be allocated in such a manner that will be equals to 1. It should not exceed 1. On the column number 2. So on column number 2 you allocated weight. On column number 3 you are allocating rating on a scale of 1 to 4. And weighted average, what you will do, you will multiply the weight with the rating, and this is how you calculated weighted score, right? And this is the total weighted score. Important. What else you can do here is you can summarize these individual weight for every strength, so that you can understand where do you lie in terms of strength in totality. Similarly, you can add your weaknesses, right? So this analysis can also be done here, apart from the consideration over the total weighted score. Now once we are done with this, one more thing which I want to highlight over here is weight of 0.1, weight of 0.1, 0.1. So you can allocate same weight to different factors. Similarly, you can allocate same rating to different factors. So it should not be considered like if I have already allocated 0.1 to a certain factor, the same weight cannot be allocated to others. Same weight can be allocated because it's up to you how you are looking at this as a strength. If you see that both of these are equally strengthful for you, then obviously you can give equal weight. And in case of rating, if you are more comfortable in understanding that your present strategy is addressing these two variables equally good, then you can provide similar rating to these two factors. So this is how we calculate this one. Now the point is, what is the interpretation? What is the interpretation of this value? So that the minimum weighted average which you will found here would be equals to 0.0, and maximum will go to 4.0, right? Because we are multiplying weight with the rating, and that is why we have actually considered a constant sum scale over here, that just to have a particular range in the weighted average. So this is the weighted average. So my scale was 1 to 4, right? My scale was 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now my value is 2.88. So it is lying somewhere here. This value is 2.88. So this value lies somewhere here, and where 3 means above average. 3 means above average. So what I can say that as a company, we feel that the existing at present strategy, company is able to respond above average so far its own evaluation of strength and weaknesses are concerned. So this is how this value to be interpreted, right? So if for example this value comes little lesser side, which means that company now need to give more focus to these strength and weaknesses with regard to the present strategy, because present strategy is not able to respond properly if the value lies between 1 and 2, because value somewhere lying lesser than 2 means the company is not even able to perform on the average side. So this is how this value to be interpreted. And the things which I like most about these two matrices, like earlier one was the EFE and this one is the IFE, is that it is easy to understand. There is no complex calculation, a very simple method how to assign weight and how to assign rating is very simple, very and methodology and calculation are very easy. Second, it is also easy to use. What you need to do is depending on your own strength and weaknesses, you have to evaluate your position and then allocate the weight and ratings. interpretation of final result is equally easy. We have already seen that you just need to take this value to the scale which you have considered and give the interpretation. And lastly, it is not that much complex because we are considering only key strength and weaknesses. We are not considering every factor here. So that is this is very much easy methodology to understand where you lie in terms of strength and weaknesses. Now we move little more to the side of the internal analysis, and we are moving to a new concept called value chain analysis. So the question that the questions that I can answer to internal analysis include is, when I conduct internal analysis, I am trying to answer what are my strengths and weaknesses, what are my capability and resources that I can use. Moving little further, if I am using IFE as IFE matrix as a tool, I can better understand that okay, this is my position within the industry so far my internal strength and weaknesses are concerned. So this question can be answered using IFE matrix. We also have understood in the previous sessions that there is a particular approach one need to follow if we are more focused towards the internal environmental analysis, that is the resource based view. So resource based view help me to take inside out view that okay, these are my strengths and weaknesses, so my strategy should revolve around these things. Within that, when I try to be more resource based, my intention is to find out the source of competitive advantage. So the point is, I will try to explore what are the resources and capabilities do I have where I can find a potential competitive advantage, those resources which may give me the competitive advantage. So for that part, we discuss the VRIO framework. Now moving ahead, as I said in the beginning, there is another viewpoint that says that try to look at your companies from the process point of view. And when you started to look at your company from the process point of view, you will find that the entire system of the transformation of resources or raw material or the inputs to the final product involve a lot of activities. So one should also analyze these activities so that we would be able to answer this question: how to create maximum value for the business and for the customer at the minimum cost. So if we try to understand what is this all value creating chain about. So here we have the resources or the input, and here we are with the finally distributed goods to the end users, and here is the firm. This firm basically deals in the transformation process. So basic transformation done over here, and this transformation involves a lot of activities. But to perform this transformation, company required these inputs, so they can have these resources through these suppliers, right? And once they are done with the transformation, they will be with the end product or the furnished product. Now the next task is to distribute this furnished product to the end user. So this company can distribute these the furnished good to the end users by using distributors. So the point which I want to tell you here is that suppliers create value, the firm itself is creating value, and the distributors also create value. So overall, basically this is a complete value creating system, right? This is a value creating system, and within this system, this company is a small part of it, right? So when I try to analyze the value chain in order to find out what I should do to minimize the total overall cost, so that I can produce more value for my own business and for my customer, that comes under the concept of value chain analysis. So what is the value chain? So this concept was given by Michael Porter. He defined value chain as a linked set of value creating activities beginning with the basic raw material coming from suppliers, moving on to a series of value added activities involved in producing and marketing a product or service, and ending with distributor getting the final goods deliver to the end consumers. So basically the supply chain begin with the resources and with the distribution of the final goods to the consumers. Within this, two important points that one must be focused on. The profit margin are not uniformly distributed along the value chain. So value creation is one aspect, profit margin is another aspect. So profit margin differ from places to place or activity to activity, and greater revenue generation does not mean higher profit margins. So let me give an example over here. A company called Ford Motors. So Ford Motors, what they did is they created a vertically integrated organization. Now vertically integrated organization is such an organization which control the resource part and the distribution as well. The company which is controlling and managing all the activities related to the value creation from the very beginning to the very late. Now in this entire value chain model, where this Ford company was a vertically integrated company, so they found gradually, slowly they found that there were certain activities which were not contributing to their profits, despite to their profit, despite they were involving, or they were accounting for huge revenue generation. So that led them to study their value chain and try to figure out what are the core activities that they should perform and what are the activities those they should avoid. So the emphasis of value chain analysis is to observe and scrutinize the company in a framework of the overall chain of value creating activities, and we should focus on more towards those which are contributing more in the value creation part. So Michael Porter suggests that there are two broad categories, one is primary, another is secondary. Primary basically related to the creation of goods and distribution of the goods to the end consumer. Support activities are those that basically add that contribute more value to the primary activities. So they basically support the primary activities, they add value through important relationship with the primary activities. Now one by one we will look at the these activities. So primary activities include inbound logistic. These are related to receiving and storage of and dispensing of the inputs. These include the activities that perform on the site of distribution, amenities that perform at the warehouse layout. There is another category which under the primary, which is operation. It is related to transformation of the input into the final product. It includes the activities which are related to plant operations, integration of technology and plant layout. Then another activity under primary is outbound logistic. Outbound logistic is related to collection, storage and distribution of the product or services to the customers, and it includes the activities related to transport, means decision regarding the routes, fast delivery, estimation of cost of the shipping and damage. Likewise, there are some activities which are related to marketing. For example, focus on selection of the promotional mix, selection on the customer segment where to deal with. Under the activities of after sales services, these are related with the post sales services activities, which involve activities like quick response to the consumer queries, focus more on the behavioral part of the sales staff which involve in this post activities. Support activities include procurement of the raw material, human resource management, technology development and firm infrastructure. So basically these themselves will not add value unless and otherwise they are supported to the primary one. Last is the steps of the value chain analysis. The very first step when you try to create value chain analysis, conduct value chain analysis, identify your primary and support activities for each of the product line, right. Second is analyze the link. Link means you need to calculate the cost and the related value which you can obtain. Third is examine customers' perception of the value. This is somewhere which is from the company's perspective. Third step is from the customer's perspective, to explore what customer perceived as valuable in the product and how much price can customer pay for it. So here we are talking about the the willingness of the consumer to pay a particular price, and here we are exploring basically what is the cost of producing that value to that for the consumer. Lastly, we will explore the competitors value chain as well. This will help me in understanding the competitive benchmarking, what my competitor has set, and then finally we will analyze the possible synergy among whatever activities we are performing, how we can club them in, or how we can club them to either do those activities in more economical manner or produce something which is differentiated from my competitor. So by this we can create such a strategy that can capitalize on my strength and weaknesses. So with this we come to the end of the session. We will start the next unit in the next session. Thank you so much.